qualify the prelims, then you are invited to write the main examination. And once you qualify the main examination, then you are called for an interview. Okay. You can write prelims in cities like Mumbai, Pune, Thane, Nagpur, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. These are the places in Maharashtra where you can go and write the preliminary examination. Once you qualify the preliminary examination, the main examination is conducted in the month of August or September. This year's prelims was conducted on 26th of May, and the main examination scheduled in next month. And this has been record of a commission wherein they are declaring results within 20 days. The result of prelims is declared in 20 days. And immediately the candidate who qualify for the preliminary examination, they start preparing for the main examination. The main examination is scheduled in the month of August. And once that is done in the month of August, maybe around November or December, the result of main examination will be declared, and immediately the personality test will commence. And once the personality test is commenced, by the end of February, they'll be completing that. And by the end of February or first week of March, the result of examination will be declared. So this is how the examination is conducted in a timeline of say 12 months. From this year onwards, they have reduced that time as well. Earlier, it used to take around 15-16 months starting from filling a form to the declaration of result. But this year, they have passed it within 12 months. So within 12 months, the entire process of examination is conducted. As discussed, you must be aware that unless and until you are graduating any discipline, you are not allowed to write the examination, right? Assuming that thing in mind, you have decided to prepare for civil service examination at an early stage. So when we are thinking of preparing for this examination at an early stage, what are the things which we should keep in mind, right? Though the examination you are going to write after completing graduation, if you ask me a question, sir, from which stage of examination we should start preparing for civil services examination? Now, being in this field for last 16 years, as a mentor and teacher for UPSC CSA aspirant, and before that, when I was an aspirant, the answer to this question is we have to start from the personality test. Now, in terms of sequence and in terms of chronology, the personality test comes last. But we have to start preparing for this personality test before we start actual preparation of an examination. Why? Because the answer to that question is it is all about your personality. It is all about your personality. And you tell me, can we shape our personality within a night or in an overnight? Can we do that? We cannot do that because that is our very own personality. So first of all, we have to shape the personality, right? And in addition to shaping the personality, we have to improvise also because we are not the perfect individual. Are we? No, we are not perfect individual. So we have to find out what is our personality, what is the requirement of personality, and we have to bridge that gap. So can we do that? So believe me, starting from your first year of a graduation, assuming you are into first year of graduation or as you are enrolled into this first year of this course, if you keep that thing in mind, definitely you'll be performing very well in the personality test because every day you are preparing for personality test bit by bit or step by step, right? And if you're building your personality bit by bit, step by step, eventually it will be built up in such a way that you'll look like an officer, right? So the answer to that question is we have to start preparing for personality test first. What comes next? Then comes main examination, right? And why is the main examination? Again, that is the real test of your skills, wherein our so many skills are tested in main examination. Okay, what are those skills? I'm going to talk about those skills in detail. And then comes the preparation of preliminary examination. Remember, guys, you don't have to top the preliminary examination. You simply have to qualify the preliminary examination. Am I right? Prelims में आपको top नहीं करना है. प्रीलिम्स में हमें सिर्फ क्या करना है, क्वालिफाई करना है. And once you write the main examination and personality test, so our aim is to top into main examination as well as personality test, because your ultimate and final result depend on the total of main examination and personality test, right? Preliminary examination is only the qualifying examination. It is simply a screening test, right? Now when we are thinking about preparation for the civil services examination, how can we do that? How can we warm up ourselves for a future officer? There are certain things in our mind. We should keep those things in our mind. And in addition to keeping those things in our mind, we have to work on those things, right? So in today's class, we are going to discuss about how we can warm up ourselves so as to become an officer, because that is going to be our strategic plan. And unless and until there is something called a strategic plan, the success in this examination is very limited, as very limited amount of students are going to qualify this examination. Don't get scared with the numbers. Why? Because lakhs of people apply for this examination, but only thousands are selected or only few hundreds are selected. So can we be into those few hundreds? Of course, we can be into those few hundreds. Why? Because though lakhs of people are applying for this examination, not every individual is pretty serious. There are so many people who are simply writing for examination or appearing examination because their parents asked to do so. In addition to that, there are people, they just say, अरे करके देख लेते, एक बार देने में क्या हर्ज है. So they simply come to attempt or test it. There are people who are serious about the examination, but not about the preparation. उनको लगता है कि उनको एग्जाम देनी चाहिए, लेकिन वो अच्छी तरीके की प्रिपरेशन नहीं करते. So if we consider all these numbers, then definitely that number is very limited, which is really serious, and they are also serious in their preparation. Now, I'm not saying this out of any assumption. I have seen this in last 16 years. पिछले 16 साल में मैंने देखा है कि ऐसे ऐसे बच्चे इसमें आते हैं, उसमें से बहुत ज़्यादा बच्चे सीरियस नहीं होते, उसमें से बच्चे सीरियस होते लेकिन प्रिपरेशन सीरियसली नहीं करते. So there are a lot of people who are not pretty serious about the examination. But when it comes to you people, I believe you are serious people. And not only you are serious about writing the examination, you are serious about preparation as well. So don't look at the numbers. Number may look scary. डर लग सकता है नंबर को देख के, लेकिन again, if you see the result of, say, our state of Maharashtra, so how many average people are getting selected every year from Maharashtra? Out of, say, 1,000 vacancies, how many are getting selected each year from Maharashtra? Close to 100 or little more than 100. So out of 1,000 people, if 100 and more than 100 are from Maharashtra, it's 10% of the total result, isn't it? 10%. So 10% is the pretty good number, and we have to be in those 10%, right? And out of these 10%, if you ask me how many are from this batch, I'm specifically talking about this batch, the 3 years integrated course. The single or two-digit rankers, are from this batch. And why is it so? Because these people, they started their preparation at an early stage. Okay, so how these people prepared? What was their preparation strategy? How these people invested their 3 years into preparation? I am the witness, because all these aspirants, they prepared here. So I know every decision of theirs. I know every step these people took in their preparation and how we modified those steps, right? So looking at that scene, I believe it is very easy for us as well as the people who are into this batch to get through this examination. I'll be speaking about those eventually, don't worry. Now, coming back to the how we can warm up ourselves for becoming officer, I believe the very first step is to decide why do you want to become an officer. आपको क्यों बनना है ऑफिसर? So this why is very important. And why this why is so important? See, there are a lot of motivations for every individual to prepare for this examination, right? मी असं बोललं तर चालेल ना? Do you understand what I'm speaking? Should I switch to Marathi and English? Or should I go in English? बीच में मैं हिंदी बोलूंगा, बीच बीच में मराठी में बोलूंगा. Okay, so we have to decide first why we want to become an officer. क्यों बनना है? Right now, there is one discussion about one officer. Can you tell me who is the officer about whom a lot of people in Maharashtra are discussing? Oh, you know it. Why? Why people are discussing about him?
Yes, they take several steps out the food safety, like the food product. We have banned, like, there's also notice of people that how fraud is happening, scam, food milk.
Fraud, scams, these words are not new to us because every day something happen around us, we call it as a बहुत बड़ा scam है, हाँ, बहुत बड़ा fraud है. Now, when it comes to something like eating food, isn't food our essential or basic necessity? Can we compromise on our food? That is the minimum thing on which we cannot compromise anything. But what is happening around us? The food is adulterated, right? Food is adulterated. And if we are eating that adulterated food, it is going to affect us, right? Maybe not immediately, but in long run. So that has to be taken very seriously. Okay. Now there are people, they are giving estimate about the paneer. Do you know the paneer? So what is the cost of paneer and how the paneer is made? Of course, paneer is made from milk. If milk is the raw material, if we take 1 liter of milk, right, then how much paneer can be produced out of 1 liter of milk? Not more than 200, 250 grams of paneer, right? So if you need say 5 liters of milk to produce 1 kg of paneer, then what is the rate of milk in market? It's around 70 rupees or 80 rupees. So if you consider 80 rupees per liter for a milk, then for 5 liter it comes around 400, right? So if 400 rupees milk is required for producing 1 kg of paneer, this is the cost of milk. We have to also consider the cost of other raw materials and processing fact of that. If you make it round figure, say 500. If 500 is the cost of 1 kg of paneer, then how much should be the cost of say 250 grams of paneer or 200 grams of paneer? It should be close to 100 rupees for 200 grams. If it is 100 rupees for 200 gram, then we can believe that is the real rate of a paneer. If you are getting paneer at less rate, there is a chance that that paneer is adulterated. So this man has taken it very seriously. That is not only about food. Eventually, he will also shift his focus from food to drugs because the department he is handling is Food and Drug Administration. And this is not happening for the first time, right? Wherever he goes, people talk about him because of his working style. Now, see, every officer has their own working style. Now, it is fine up to them how these people are working in their respective capacity. But nobody should compromise with respect to food. Right. So now people are praising him. साहब आपने बहुत अच्छा किया, आपको बहुत पहले से करना चाहिए था, पहले वाले ऑफिसर क्या कर रहे हैं? Not every officer is doing very wrong thing. They are doing at their own level, but the way they are doing may be different. उनका तरीका अलग अलग हो सकता. ठीक है. There is one very famous example. I give this example to everybody. Do you remember the COVID wala period when you maybe the school going kid, right? There were 3 things in COVID which was mandatory, which we were supposed to follow mandatorily. First one was masking. मास्क पहनना था, हाथ धोने थे, and social distancing रखना था. I perfectly remember when the COVID stuck into India, arrived into India, we can say, what happened there? When COVID came into India, the sanitizer stock of market, it was completely finished. Because in market, we were not producing enough sanitizer. Because nobody was using sanitizer before that. So as soon as COVID came, what happened? The sanitizer khatam ho gaya. Now thereafter, government made it mandatory for every public places to keep sanitizer at the entrance. So you might have seen your schools or tuitions or wherever you have gone, there used to be sanitizer stand, there used to be bottle, right? So if you press that pedal with your leg, foot, then sanitizer used to come on your hand. Do you remember that? That was very, say, cheap sanitizer. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of price, it was available at very less price. Why? Because when initially the sanitizer shortage hit Maharashtra, there was one officer. I personally knew that officer. So that officer gave a proposal to government that we can produce sanitizer with the help of sugar factories. There are a lot of sugar factories in Maharashtra. And what is the raw material for sanitizer? The raw material for sanitizer is an alcohol, right? So they said our sugar factories are producing alcohol, so we can produce sanitizer at very low rate. We have to simply advise sugar factories that you can do that, right? So what happened? He wrote to the government of Maharashtra, and government of Maharashtra accepted that proposal. And as a result, the sugar factories in Maharashtra, they were asked to produce sanitizer. As a result, what happened? The sanitizer supply was increased in market, and उससे क्या हो गया? Sanitizer हमें कम रेट में मिलना शुरू हो. That was very simple initiative of an officer that changed the life of so many people. So your one decision can definitely change life of so many people, right? That is one thing. In the same time period of COVID, you know what happened? There was one police officer. There was one police officer, IPS officer, in fact. So he came up with the idea that as people are moving from one place to other place, the COVID control was based on ट्रैक टेस्ट ट्रैक टेस्ट. मतलब जिसको भी कोविड होता है उसको ट्रैक करना है, टेस्ट करना है, ट्रैक करना है, टेस्ट करना है. So when people started moving from a place to another place, that officer came up with the idea, we can issue a pass for people traveling from one district to other district, so that we know how many people are traveling and where are they traveling, and we can track them easily. So he developed one web portal. वहां पे लिखा गया अगर आपको from one place to other place travel करना है, you have to simply ask for the pass. And once you apply all details, fill all the details over that portal, we will issue a pass. The pass was issued to everybody. सभी को पास दिया गया. पास देना नहीं है, that was never the intention. पास देना ही intention था, so that we can track the people who are moving from place to another place. That also helped the authorities to control the spread of COVID. Who gave that idea? That idea was given by IPS officer. In the same time period, there was one trainee officer from the same batch. Just before that, he was selected as IAS and he was completing his training. As a part of his training, he was posted in one district, and as COVID waves struck, there was a shortage of masks. So he came up with the idea, we can ask all self-help group in the district to produce mask. So he arranged a camp, called some expert, brought some raw material, and asked all the females in all those groups to stitch mask. As a result, the masks were made available at very low rates at 20 rupees, 30 rupees. That fulfilled the need of mask of those people who were into that area. So these initiatives can definitely change the life of so many people. So you should also think in your mind why you want to become an officer. The officer which you referred just now, there was a book publication ceremony of that officer just day before yesterday, right? Have you watched the videos? Have you been to that program? What was the situation there? The entire auditorium was full. There was not enough space to accommodate new people. So most of the audience who couldn't get sit in auditorium, they sat on stage and they were watching officer like this. That was the craze. For him, his why is very clear. उसको पता है कि उसको वहां पे क्यों जाना है. He already knew why he wanted to become an officer. If you find that out, you wanted to become an officer, that will serve you to navigate through the preparation. Because as you are into first year of this course as well as preparation, it will take at least 3 years to prepare and complete your graduation. उसके बाद में 1 या 2 अटेम्प्ट आप देते हो, तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि आप you may get tired, you may not have that enough motivation, because physically we get tired every day. Once we sleep, we are freshen up, right? But mentally, if you get tired, then there is no escape from that. So not to get mentally tired, we have to freshen up mentally as well. And how can you freshen up mentally? When you know why. When you know why. अगर आपको पता है आपको ये क्यों करना है, then definitely that will help you to navigate through this preparation. So what is that why? So I have listed here few whys. You can contribute to the society. Can you contribute to the society? Yes, definitely you can contribute to society. Just now we discussed some of the examples. Secondly, it is respect for you and family. आपको और family को respect मिलता है. You know, imagine a situation, or you might have seen that as well. You are working in some corporate, earning very handsome amount of salary, but somebody is working in government, maybe police officer, maybe IPS officer. The way people look at them is completely different. Probably, who may get more respect? You just tell from your experiences. Maybe the police officer or the officer who is IAS or IPS. I'm not saying the person who is working in private sector may get less respect. It is about getting more respect. In comparison to each other, there is a chance that the officer may get more respect, right? And that is not only for you, it is for the family as well. It is for the family as well. बोलते हैं ना, इनका लड़का IAS हो गया, इनकी लड़की IPS हो गई. That is a pride for the family also, right? Just few days ago, I was in a public program where most of the officers were invited. That was a felicitation program for the newly selected people of UPSC. So in that program, one women IPS officer from Maharashtra, she was caught. She was my batchmate who used to write the examination in same period. Okay, so she was also invited as a guest. So she was there and some other guests were also there. These other guests who were also there. So there were 3-4 guests. So a guest introduced that lady officer to another guest. अरे ये यहाँ की लड़की है और इसके जो पिताजी थे, her father was also working in a municipal corporation when he was the municipal commissioner, right? So one guest was IAS officer, another was also a senior IAS officer, and she was the IPS officer. What was her introduction? Her IPS officer, this was her identity. But what was her additional identity? That his father was working in a municipal corporation, and another IAS officer told to that officer that when you are posted in that municipal corporation, her father was working under you. So that was not respect for her, that was respect for her father also. So you can have that once you become this officer. You always get power to change. You always get power to change, right? Isn't change required? Change is required every time. Every day we need change. It may be piecemeal change, छोटा हो सकता है, लेकिन change होना बहुत जरूरी है. Change होना बहुत जरूरी. It can affect lives of so many people. बहुत लोगों के lives को affect कर सकता है, right? So that change you can bring into an action. In the same public program, when I was attending that public program of felicitation of these UPSC candidate, it was in Mumbai actually. So one IAS officer who is senior IAS officer having a more than 30 years of career, he has been given a task of redevelopment of certain areas. उस ऑफिसर को एक टास्क दिया गया है. कौन सा टास्क दिया गया है? Redevelopment of certain areas. And that officer is doing that very honestly from very bottom of his heart because he wanted to change that area completely. So after some days, when you see before and after wale picture, you can easily see that difference. And that is his conviction. That is of course the policy of government. But in addition to this, this is his conviction also that I wanted to change this area. So you can bring that change. And how is that possible? You can bring that change when you are as an officer. Because as an officer, you get so many powers. That power comes with responsibility. That power also comes with privilege. Responsibility भी आती है, privilege भी आता है. And there are many evils in around our society. उसके ऊपर हमें काम करना बहुत जरूरी है. So how can we do that? We can do that with the help of a power. And we get that power only when we become an officer, right? Next thing is you have to be very clear about your why. Because as I'm repeatedly telling you this, that is going to motivate you. That is going to motivate you. I don't have any doubt on your preparation. I am not doubting your hard work. That is going to be there. You are going to put that hard work. I am very damn sure about that. आप वैसा हार्ड वर्क उसमें डालने वाले ही, but that should be with proper motivation. So if that is the crystal clear idea, then you can easily do that. So you have to treat your ambition as a pitch and you have to start with your objective. अगर आप कोई objective के साथ उसको start करते हैं, definitely there is a way forward. Definitely there is a way forward, right? So the very first step is to decide why do you want to become an officer, right? Objective होना जरूरी है. See, audience, when people will look around us, your family members will be looking at you. आप prepare कर रहे हो, cadre. So that is the most, I should say the funniest and the most joyful part of your services. Okay. Now coming back to the very first step is to decide why do you want to become an officer. If that is very clear to us, in addition to the whatever reasons I have listed here, we can move to the next phase. अगर हमने decide किया है कि हमें करना है, क्यों करना है, the next step is to decide how. कैसे करना है, कैसे हम उसको decide कर सकते हैं. So next step is of course we have to decide how. किस तरीके से करना है. And in that context, what is important? Early beginning is half done. So I believe you are beginning it early. So that is half done for you. Why? Because there is a thing called as relative merit. There is a thing called as relative merit. Now I'll explain you what is meant by relative merit. उसका मतलब क्या होता है, उसके ऊपर हम decide करेंगे. What is meant by relative merit? I'm suggesting you to start early. I'm suggesting you to start early. इसका मतलब यह नहीं है कि आपको जाके बुक पढ़ना शुरू करना. नो 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 नो, डोंट टेक इट रॉन्ग. अगर हमें शुरू से शुरुआत करनी है, इसका मतलब हमें बुक्स पढ़ना शुरू करना. दिस इज व्हाट आई एम नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग. वी हैव टू स्टार्ट इन आवर माइंड कि हमें करना है. वी हैव टू स्टार्ट इन आवर माइंड हमें करना है. क्यों करना है? वी हैव ऑलरेडी फाउंड द आंसर फॉर क्यों करना है. व्हाई? अगर हम अर्ली स्टार्ट करेंगे तो क्या होगा? You will have age with respect to relative merit. Just imagine a situation, you are starting early, right? And another friend of yours, he or she is going to start after completing graduation, right? So after completing graduation, say there would be at least 3 years, max to max 5 to 6 years, depending on which type of graduation you are choosing. And if you have opted for the graduation under national education policy, then your graduation is going to be there for 4 years. 4 साल का होने वाला है, राइट? ग्रेजुएशन अंडर एनईपी, न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी. अगर वो उस वक्त शुरू करेगा तो क्या होगा? यू विल हैव एन अर्ली एडवांटेज विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू व्हाट? विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू रिलेटिव मेरिट. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल. वी सजेस्ट एवरीबडी टू रीड न्यूज़पेपर्स. हम सभी को क्या सजेस्ट करते हैं? आपको क्या पढ़ना है? न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है, राइट? एंड व्हेन वी आस्क यू टू रीड न्यूज़पेपर, हम आपको बोलते कि आपको न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है. विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू न्यूज़पेपर, इफ यू रीड न्यूज़पेपर टुडे ना, you may take around 3 to 4 hours to complete the newspaper. Today, if you take some time and keep reading newspaper continuously for say 6 months, then in 6 months, you'll be reducing that time period from 3 hours to 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So the same newspaper you will be able to complete in say 45 minutes, right? And consistently thereafter, within 30 to 45 minutes, you can finish that newspaper. I does that. Me te karo. I'm doing that because I'm the pro version in reading the newspaper. I'm pro newspaper reader. In your language, I'm pro, right? Now imagine one of your friends who is going to start after graduation. So after graduation, once he or she start reading newspaper, they will also come to 30-45 minutes, but they will need more 6 months. उनको उस टारगेट पे पहुंचने के लिए कितना समय लगेगा? कम से कम 6 महीने तो लगेंगे. You are 6 months ahead than those people. Why? Because you are already completing that within 30 to 45 minutes. So whatever time you are saving there, you can put that into use of your preparation of some other stuff. And this is with respect, not only with respect to newspaper. In addition to newspaper, we can apply this logic to every reading we are doing that. So you will get that early advantage. And that early advantage you can also understand with reference to your skill set. Now, whatever skill set we require, I have listed that skill set and we are going to talk about that. So early beginning is half done. Whatever people who already selected from this course, what was very common for them? They started at very early stage in their first or second year of graduation. I'm not saying these people started reading new books and reading notes on very first day. No. You are taking it wrong. But they started early and they started gaining that relative advantage with respect to the skill set which is demanded by this examination. I'll give certain examples also, right? We have to start early. We are already doing that. The second thing is we have to decide the year of an examination in which we are going to write examination for the first time. आगे जाके कम से कम हमें कितना समय लगने वाला है? 3 या 4 साल. Now we are in 2026, aren't we? We are in 2026, right? And as we are into 2026, maybe your first attempt will come in 29 or 2030. By that time, you will be completing your graduation. अगर आपको पता है कि कब आगे जाके करना है, so you can prepare evenly in those 3 to 4 years. We can set target. First year में क्या करना है? First year में क्या करना है? Second year में क्या करना है? Third year में क्या करना है? Fourth year में क्या करना है? We can set the target, right? And after setting the target, we can focus on our graduation as well as our preparation. So अगर हमें examination का year पता है, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हमारी preparation को evenly spread कर सकते हैं. First, second, third and fourth, right? Whatever number of years which are in your mind, we can do that, right? So we have to start at early stage. Secondly, we have to decide the year of examination. Now, another advantage of deciding year of examination is our goal post is fixed. Our goal post is fixed. That 2030 or 2029 is our goal. Now, just now the football fever is going on. What is the aim of every player who is playing football? To goal, right? To goal. And where? In goal post, right? So their entire focus is at goal post. Am I right? This is our goal post. हमारा गोल पोस्ट है ईयर. उस ईयर में हमें क्या करना है? हमारा वहां पे गोल करना है. नॉट सेल्फ गोल, हमें गोल करना है, राइट? सो आवर गोल पोस्ट इज डिसाइडेड व्हेन वी डिसाइड टेंटेटिव ईयर ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन, राइट? सो हम उसको अच्छी तरीके से प्रिपेयर कर सकते. इन फुटबॉल ऑल्सो द प्लेयर्स आर अरेंज्ड इन दैट वे. Some people will be leading the game. Some people will be defending. Some people will be there in middle order, like in cricket. Okay, so we have to decide the year of an examination. The next stage, we have to choose right guidance and mentors. We have to choose right guidance and mentors. This plays crucial role, बहुत crucial role. Because if you are taking your preparation in right direction under right guidance and with the help of mentors, this goal is not difficult, because we are fully focused on what? We are fully focused on our aim. And this right guidance and mentors, they can definitely tell you where you are lacking, how are we heading, and what are the areas on which you work. Now I'll tell you one example. A student called me, sir, मला भेटायचं आहे, I wanted to meet you. So I said, okay. I gave him a time and asked him to come there, right? मैंने उसको बोला कि आ जाओ. So he was carrying answer sheets, 2 bags full. उसने 2 बैग में भर के क्या लाए थे? उसने बहुत सारे आंसर्स लिखे थे. He brought those answers to me. मुझे बोला, सर आप इवेल्युएट करके दो. When I looked him at, very first impression was, अरे भाई क्या कर रहे तू? इतने सारे आंसर्स, कितना हार्डवर्क डाला है? So I was, surprised, excited, and I had very huge respect for that student. कि अरे इतना सारा उसने लिख के लाया है. Nobody does that. So after having some initial chat, he handed over me a paper. Sir, देख लो. And as soon as I opened that paper, whatever respect he gained, whatever respect he commanded in my mind as a first impression, I lost it immediately by looking at his answers. Why? Because whatever he wrote on that paper, it was not legible. It means I was not able to read that. Have you seen the calculator वाला font? Calculator होता है ना, उसका font कैसे होता है? उस तरीके से उस बंदे ने लिखा था. मैंने बोला, अरे भाई तूने क्या लिखा है? ऐसा थोड़ी लिखते हैं. क्योंकि अगर मुझे पढ़ना नहीं आएगा तो how can I evaluate your answers? He said, sir मैं ऐसे लिखता हूँ. I asked him, डिडंट यू शो दिस आंसर्स टू समबडी दैट मेरा आंसर्स देख लो, इसको एवेलुएट कर लो? किसी को पूछा क्या? उसने बोला नहीं सर पूछा। अगर वो पूछता तो इन वेरी फ्यू आंसर्स इनिशियली द मेंटर और द एक्सपर्ट कुड हैव टोल्ड हिम, अरे भाई ऐसे नहीं लिखना होता है। क्योंकि अगर तुम जो लिखते हो अगर एग्जामिनर उसको पढ़ नहीं पा रहा तो क्या होगा? विल ही और शी गिव यू मार्क्स? नो, आपको मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे, आपको मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे। सो क्या हो गया? whatever respect he commanded, he lost it immediately in my mind. I said, I cannot evaluate these answers because I'm not able to read, right? The role of guidance. अगर उसके पास होता तो गलती नहीं कर। Another thing, there is one student, she is into IAS right now. IAS है, इसी बैच की स्टूडेंट है। She came from a rural background, रूरल बैकग्राउंड से आई थी। ये पुणे पुणे में पढ़ती थी। शी वॉज डूइंग हर ग्रेजुएशन इन पुणे इटसेल्फ। शी वॉज स्टडिंग एग्रीकल्चर, यहीं पे एग्रीकल्चर पढ़ रही थी। सामने एग्रीकल्चर कॉलेज है। इफ यू वॉक 10 मिनट्स 5 to 7 minutes फ्रॉम दिस प्लेस देयर इज एन एग्रीकल्चर कॉलेज। ओके, वहां पे पढ़ती थी। सो शी वॉज नॉट गुड एट इंग्लिश इनिशियली, ऐसा उसको लगता था, राइट? सो उसने क्या किया? शी चूज मराठी मीडियम। उसने मीडियम कौन सा चूज किया? मराठी वाला मीडियम चूज किया। उससे क्या हो गया कि शी स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग इन मराठी मीडियम। In this batch, we conducted one test. She was in second year. We conducted a test. For that test, the material notes were given in English, not in Marathi. So उसने पूछा सर क्या करूँ, मेरा तो मीडियम मराठी है, नोट्स तो मराठी में अवेलेबल नहीं है, कैसे कर सकती हूँ? तो उसने ऐसे बोलने के बाद मैंने उसको कहा एक काम कर लो, इंग्लिश में ट्राई कर लो, लेट्स ट्राई इट इन इंग्लिश, देखते कैसे होता है। शी रोट दैट टेस्ट इन इंग्लिश, पेपर्स वर इवेल्युएटेड, शी स्टूड फर्स्ट इन दैट टेस्ट, पहली आ गई टेस्ट में। एंड लुकिंग एट आवर इंग्लिश वी वेर कंप्लीटली श्योर दैट शी कैन राइट एग्जामिनेशन इन एन इंग्लिश। उसको बोला गया कि अच्छी लिख सकती हो इंग्लिश में, लिख लो। देन शी चोज इंग्लिश एज हर मीडियम, राइट? एंड व्हाट हैपेंड? इन हर सेकंड अटेम्प्ट शी बिकेम एन IAS ऑफिसर, right? That test changed her course of preparation because that test gave her confidence. And when we certified कि अगर अच्छी तुम लिख सकती हो, we want some approval from some others, तो उसको अप्रूवल मिल गया कि मैं अच्छी इंग्लिश लिख सकती हूँ। That completely changed her preparation. She became IAS officer. और एक बंदा है, IAS है, इसी बैच का बंदा है। He studied in English medium school. इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल में पढ़ा था। वी हैव अ कंपलसरी पेपर्स। हमें मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में 2 कंपलसरी पेपर्स होते हैं, एक इंग्लिश वाला होता है, दूसरा रीजनल लैंग्वेज वाला होता है, इंडियन लैंग्वेज होता है। सो मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र दे चूज मराठी एज देयर इंडियन लैंग्वेज, ठीक है? द पर्सन हुम आई एम टॉकिंग इज अ मराठी गाय, मराठी मुलगा है, कमिंग फ्रॉम मराठी फैमिली, बट ही स्टडी इन इंग्लिश मीडियम। पढ़ा कहाँ था? इंग्लिश मीडियम में पढ़ा था। सो ही हैड मराठी एज हिज सेकेंड और थर्ड लैंग्वेज। सो उसको मराठी लिखना नहीं आता था। ही वॉज एबल टू रीड, ही वॉज एबल टू स्पीक, बट ही वॉज नॉट एबल टू राइट इट वेरी वेल। सो उसका पहला प्रीलिम्स निकल गया, पास हो गया। मेंस एग्जामिनेशन के लिए हम प्रिपेयर करते थे। तो आई आस्क्ड हिम, भाई एक काम कर ले, एक मराठी वाला पेपर लिख के मुझे दे दे, लेट मी चेक इट बिकॉज दैट इज अ क्वालिफाइंग पेपर, आई नीड टू चेक दैट। ही रोट दैट मराठी पेपर, उसने दे दिया। मैंने बोला भाई अगर तू ऐसा लिखेगा कभी IAS नहीं बन पाएगा, क्योंकि उसकी मराठी तो ऐसी थी कि उसको ही नहीं समझ आ रहा कि किस तरीके से उसको हैंडल करो। सो दैट वाज नॉट टेंशन टू हिम, दैट वाज टेंशन टू मी, बिकॉज आई न्यू दैट गाय वाज वेरी वेल इन अदर सब्जेक्ट्स। अगर मराठी नहीं पास होता तो पूरा मेंस का पेपर ही इवेल्युएट नहीं होगा। सो मैंने उसके मदर को कॉल किया, उसकी माँ को कॉल किया। मैंने बोला कि अभी इसने पेपर लिखा है, उसका पेपर देखिए मुझे टेंशन आया है, आपको कुछ तो करना होगा। मैं आपको 4 चीजें बोलता हूँ, आप घर पे उससे वो 4 चीजें करवा लीजिएगा, उसी से उसका काम हो जाएगा. हर मदर ऑल्सो टुक दैट वेरी सीरियसली, एंड whatever instruction I used to give her, she used to get that done from him in home, right? And as a result, he started scoring very well in Marathi. जितना पासिंग मार्क्स चाहिए थे उतने तक. ठीक है, उसने उसकी भी स्ट्रैटेजी बना ली, कैसे पास कर सकता हूँ, डे बिफोर कौन कौन सी चीजों के ऊपर ध्यान देना है, क्या करना है. ठीक है, पेपर लिखने गया, पेपर पास हो गया. उसी साल ऑल इंडिया रैंक 63, गॉट इनटू आईएएस. द क्रेडिट गोज टू right guidance. Credit goes to right guidance and mentors. और एक बंदा है तमिलनाडु में आईपीएस है, सेम बैच का. सो ही वॉज अ शाय, बहुत शाय था. हर वीकेंड क्लास को आता था, हम जो बोलते थे उसको करता भी था, लेकिन थोड़ा शाय था, आता ही नहीं था मिलने के लिए. अगर उसको बुलाते थे हम, आ जाओ मिलने के लिए, आता नहीं था. वन ऑफ हिज फ्रेंड सेड, अगर भाई ऐसा नहीं होता है, तुमको जाके सर से मिलना होगा, उनके साथ डिस्कस करना होगा. सर डे ही केम, कॉल्ड मी, सर मुझे मिलना है, डिस्कस करना है. सो ही केम एंड वी स्टार्टेड डिस्कसिंग फ्यू थिंग्स, यू नो. देन आई रियलाइज, अरे बहुत अच्छा लिखता है, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा काम करना चाहिए. देर आफ्टर व्हाट हैपेंड, देर आफ्टर वी kept that interaction continuously. He was very good at writing. उसी साल मेंस निकल गया. He was not very good in interview. वैसे तो शाय था, लेकिन उसके मेंस के मार्क्स इतने अच्छे थे कि उसके सिलेक्शन में इंटरव्यू के मार्क्स का कुछ अफेक्ट नहीं हुआ. ही गॉट, उसको आईपीएस चाहिए था, निकल गया. There's also one guy from the same batch who studied in Ferguson College. He got into IPS at very early stage. 2020 की बात है. ठीक है, 2020 का प्रीलिम्स उसने दिया, अक्टूबर में उसका ग्रेजुएशन हो गया, दिसंबर में मेंस लिखा, मई में वो सिलेक्ट हो गया आईपीएस में एट द वेरी यंग एज ऑफ 21 ईयर्स. अभी वाराणसी में डीसीपी काम कर रहा है वहां पे वो, बिकॉज ही वॉज कंसिस्टेंटली अंडर गाइडेंस ऑफ दिस कोर्स टीचर, क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. सो यू हैव टू चूज द राइट गाइडेंस एंड राइट mentors. And mentors not only guide you in preparation, no? They also guide you mentally. एक बंदा है, मुझे फोन करता है, सर मिलना है. उसका फोन आता है तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि अभी मुझे सिर्फ आधे घंटे उसकी बात सुननी है. सो आई मेकअप माई माइंड, क्यों आएगा और बोलना शुरू करेगा, मुझे क्या करना है, सिर्फ आधे घंटे उसकी बात सुननी है. सो स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम हिज फैमिली, how his mother and grandmother are fighting, from that to these are the difficulties I'm facing in preparation. उसको जब भी फ्रस्ट्रेशन आता है मुझे कॉल करता है. उसके कॉल आने के बाद समझ लेता हूँ कि आज उसका फ्रस्ट्रेशन निकालने का दिन है, मेरा सुनने का दिन है. सो आई डज दैट एवरी टाइम ही कॉल. व्हाई? बिकॉज टू वेंट आउट that frustration is also important, which is going to help him in his preparation. So that as a mentor we are doing that. So we have to always choose right guidance and mentors. हम किसका आंसर ढूंढ रहे हैं, कैसे करना है, हाउ कैन वी डू दैट? वी कैन डू बाय स्टार्टिंग अर्ली, by deciding the year of examination, by choosing the right guidance and mentor. It's not only important to choose only guidance, you have to choose the right company also. Right company, your fellow friends, right? Because they should be also into that sailing boat. सभी लोग उसी सेम डायरेक्शन में जाने चाहिए. You are preparing for civil service examination, somebody is preparing for CAT or IIM or say MBA. Frequency may not match because you may not support each other. Up to some extent you can definitely support each other, but you may not support each other when you are into different mode of your preparation. So it is always better to be into appropriate company. Appropriate company होना बहुत जरूरी है, मतलब like minded people हमारे साथ होना बहुत जरूरी है, who can motivate us. There is one student IAS है, MP कैडर में. ठीक है, बंदा बहुत ही सीधा साधा है. ठीक है, जब मेंस लिख रहा था ना, उसी दिन में उसको हो गया था डेंगू, मच्छर वाला डेंगू. ठीक है, एंड दैट ही फॉल सिक जस्ट बिफोर फ्यू डेज ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन. प्रिपरेशन तो अच्छी कर रहा था, लेकिन उसको डेंगू हो गया. फिर क्या करना है, हॉस्टल पे रहता था, घर वापिस चला गया क्योंकि घर में ही अच्छी केयर हो सकती है, खाना पीना अच्छा मिल सकता है, हॉस्टल में तो नहीं मिलेगा। ही वेंट बैक होम, प्रिपरेशन तो चल रही थी, कुछ बाकी थी। देयर केम हिज फ्रेंड्स who were preparing for the examination. That year, his friends couldn't qualify the preliminary examination, so they were having ample amount of time. इस बंदे का प्रीलिम्स निकल गया था, ठीक है। सो उन्होंने क्या किया, भाई तू बीमार है तो अपने सेहत पे ध्यान दे, हम तेरे लिए पढ़ाई करेंगे। सो दीज यूज पीपल यूज टू रीड, मेक सम शॉर्ट नोट्स, and few people used to read loud so that he can listen lying on bed. That was the first thing done by his friends. Secondly, his friends made some short notes. 3-4 लोग थे, सभी ने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर ले, ये तू कर ले, तू कर ले, टॉपिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर ले, उसके शॉर्ट नोट्स बना लिए। और जब वो धीरे धीरे अच्छा होता गया, हिज हेल्थ स्टार्टेड इंप्रूविंग, दिस शॉर्ट नोट्स वर हैंडेड टू हिम, उसको बोला गया इसको पढ़ ले, तेरा काम हो जाएगा। ही लिटरली डिड दैट, शॉर्ट नोट्स को पढ़ लिया, उसको एग्जाम में उसका फायदा मिला, राइट। मेंस पास हो गया, उसका फोन आया, सर मेंस निकल गया, इंटरव्यू की बारी थी, ठीक है। उसका प्रॉब्लम क्या था कि ही नेवर स्टडीड एट हिज होम प्लेस, ही स्टडीड एट डिफरेंट प्लेसेस। स्कूल में हॉस्टल में था, कॉलेज में हॉस्टल में था, प्रिपरेशन के दौरान भी हॉस्टल में था। सो उसको बहुत सारी लोकल चीजें पता नहीं थी। उसका कॉल आ गया, सर मैं तो मेंस पास हो गया, अभी कैसे करना है। मैंने बोला रुक, मैं वहां पे आता हूँ। वहां पे मैं उसको मिलने गया। वहां पे जाने के बाद मुझे पता चला, अरे इसको तो लोकल चीजें कुछ भी मालूम नहीं, ही डजंट नो लोकल थिंग्स। उसके ऊपर सवाल आते हैं इंटरव्यू में। सो वी सैट टुगेदर फॉर 4 days, 4 दिन हम साथ में बैठे, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 10 o'clock इन द मॉर्निंग टिल 5 o'clock इन द इवनिंग। 4 दिन इतनी सारी चीजें डिस्कस कर ली, इतनी सारी चीजें डिस्कस कर ली कि उसको इंटरव्यू में उसके ऊपर जो कुछ सवाल पूछे गए, he could answer those questions very well, got into IAS. So that is how the mentors and appropriate company can help you in your preparation. इसका मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि हमें दोस्तों को डिस्कार्ड करना है, नो नो, यू कैनॉट डिस्कार्ड इट। You simply just have to be into good company as far as your preparation is concerned. There's one student, she is into IFS. IFS वाली बंदी है, इसी कोर्स में पढ़ी है, फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज की स्टूडेंट है। शी इज फ्रॉम दिल्ली, दिल्ली से आती है, लेकिन यहाँ पे पढ़ने आई थी वो फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज में। उसका ऐसा था, शी वॉज वेरी गुड एट स्टडीज, शी वॉज ऑल्सो गुड एट कीपिंग ऑल फ्रेंड्स टुगेदर। उसको पसंद था कि हर ऐसे फैमिली फंक्शन में जाना है, प्रोग्राम में जाना है। उसको उससे थोड़ा लीजर मिलता था, जो टाइम मिलता था उसको वो अच्छी तरीके से यूटिलाइज करते थे। एवरीबडी हैव डिफरेंट अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स इट, बट इट इज बेटर टू बी इन गुड कंपनी ऑलवेज। एंड वन मोर थिंग विच आई वुड लाइक टू हाईलाइट हियर, you have to think of plan B, you have to think of plan, but this is the last thing we have to do. Why? Now let me give an example. What is a plan B? अगर आपका इसमें सिलेक्शन नहीं होता है तो what you are going to do that as a career, as a profession. Now why do you have to think about plan B right now? You have to think for plan B only with respect to your graduation, only with respect to your graduation. क्योंकि हम ग्रेजुएशन कितनी बार करते हैं लाइफ में, एक ही बार करते हैं। सो जो कुछ ग्रेजुएशन हमें करना है, अच्छा करना चाहिए। When I qualified my first main examination, मेरा पहला मेन एग्जामिनेशन निकल गया था, इंटरव्यू का कॉल आया मुझे। सो यूपीएससी का इंटरव्यू कैसे होता है, जब आपका इंटरव्यू होता है ना, उसके इमीडिएटली नेक्स्ट डे आपका मेडिकल होता है। क्या होता है? मेडिकल। सो इंटरव्यू को जब आप जाते हो, व्हेन यू गो इंटरव्यू, दे गिव यू ऑल द क्रेडेंशियल्स एंड दे आस्क यू टू बी प्रेजेंट एट अ पर्टिकुलर हॉस्पिटल वेरी नेक्स्ट डे। आपको एक हॉस्पिटल का एड्रेस है, वहां पे आपको जाना होता है। So we, a group of people were provided hospital address for medical purpose. So सुबह सुबह जल्दी उठ के हम वहाँ पे चले गए। दिल्ली में एक हॉस्पिटल था, बड़ा हॉस्पिटल था, दिल्ली में जो कुछ हॉस्पिटल से बहुत बड़े। So we were asked to complete our medical process investigation there. As soon as we entered into that hospital, I saw the hospital was fully crowded because being a government hospital, the hospital was fully crowded. People were literally waiting for their treatment. लोग वहां पे राह देख रहे थे। We were also in queue for our test to be get done. वहां पे उस क्राउड को देखने बाद मुझे लगा कि जिंदगी में एक बार हमें डॉक्टर होना चाहिए था। आई शुड हैव बिकम डॉक्टर। क्योंकि अगर इतने लोगों को जरूरत है, अगर इतने लोगों को जरूरत है, तो किसी ना किसी को तो डॉक्टर होना होगा। मुझे एक बार वैसे लगा था इन माई लाइफ कि अगर मैं डॉक्टर होता तो इन लोगों की सेवा करता, बट एज आई हैड ऑलरेडी कंप्लीटेड माई ग्रेजुएशन, दैट वाज नॉट एन ऑप्शन फॉर मी, दैट वाज नॉट एन ऑप्शन फॉर मी। सो अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको इस फील्ड में ग्रेजुएशन करना है, हम ग्रेजुएशन एक ही बार करते हैं तो हमें अच्छा करना चाहिए। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट यू एवरीबडी शुड बिकम डॉक्टर। अगर आपको लगता है इंजीनियरिंग करना है, आपको लगता है ह्यूमैनिटीज में जाना है, आपको लगता है कॉमर्स में जाना है, आपको लगता है मैनेजमेंट में जाना है, आपको लगता है लॉ पढ़ना है, जो कुछ आपको लगता है आपको वही करना चाहिए एज यूर प्लान बी, because we are not going to activate our plan B immediately. No, we are not going to activate that immediately. We are going to activate in case our plan A is failing. अगर हमारा प्लान ए वर्क नहीं हो रहा है तो हम क्या करेंगे, प्लान बी को एक्टिवेट करेंगे। लेकिन अगर आपका प्लान बी ग्रेजुएशन के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है तो हमें ग्रेजुएशन कैसे करना चाहिए, बहुत अच्छा करना चाहिए, राइट। नाउ लेट मी गिव वन एग्जांपल। देयर इज अ सिस्टम कॉल्ड एज प्रतिभा सेतु। हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ प्रतिभा सेतु? नाउ व्हाट इज प्रतिभा सेतु? यूपीएससी डिसाइडेड, आ रहे हमारे पास बहुत सारे बच्चे आते हैं, हम उनका इंटरव्यू लेते हैं, लेकिन उसमें से अगर 1000 बच्चों को हम सिलेक्ट करते हैं, दे यूजुअली कंडक्ट इंटरव्यू फॉर 2500 पीपल। 2500 एस्पायरेंट का इंटरव्यू लेते हैं यूपीएससी सीएससी के लिए, उसमें से सिलेक्ट कितने होते हैं, 1000। तो कितने बचते हैं, 1500, 1500 बचते हैं, राइट। दीज 1500 पीपल आर ऑल्सो गुड, ओनली थिंग इज दे आर नॉट इन टू मेरिट लिस्ट। उनका क्या किया जाए, इसीलिए गवर्नमेंट ने एक पोर्टल लॉन्च किया, उसको बोला गया है प्रतिभा सेतु। आपकी प्रतिभा के लिए हम उस सेतु को लॉन्च करें, ऐसा गवर्नमेंट का कहना है। सो दे आर अपलोडिंग डेटा ऑफ दोज 1500 पीपल हु आर नॉट सिलेक्टेड इनटू यूपीएससी टू दिस पोर्टल। इस पोर्टल पे वो अपलोड करते हैं और दे आर मेकिंग दैट डेटा अवेलेबल टू ऑल अदर प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स इंक्लूडिंग गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। अगर आपको कुछ ऑफिसर्स चाहिए, यू कैन सिलेक्ट फ्रॉम पूल ऑफ दीज ऑफिसर्स बिकॉज वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्क्रीन देम। उनका हमने प्रीलिम्स टेस्ट लिया है, मेंस टेस्ट लिया है, इंटरव्यू भी लिया है। आपको लगता है तो आप इसमें से कुछ बच्चों को चुन सकते हो, राइट। लास्ट ईयर स्टूडेंट कॉल मी, सर मिलना है, या बाहर एक केबिन है वहां पे मिलने आ गया। ही अपीयर्ड यूपीएससी इंटरव्यू इन 2023। कब अपीयर हुआ था, 2023 में, ठीक है। मतलब 2023 वाली एग्जाम थी, उसका इंटरव्यू 2024 में खत्म हुआ था। एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू द एग्जांपल ऑफ दिसंबर 2025। उसका फोन आया, सर मिलना है, आ जाओ। इसी केबिन में बैठे हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे। उसने बोला सर मेरा तो सिलेक्शन हो गया। मैंने बोला भाई किस में सिलेक्शन हो गया? उसने बोला इस पोस्ट में मेरा सिलेक्शन हो गया। मैंने पूछा कैसे हो गया? सर प्रतिभा सेतु से हो गया। उनका हमें ईमेल आया था, हमने उसके अप्लाई किया, हमारा सिलेक्शन हो गया। नाउ आई एम अ ग्रुप ए ऑफिसर, आई एम ग्रुप ए ऑफिसर। ही वॉज वेरी सैड दैट ही कुडंट गेट सिलेक्टेड इनटू यूपीएससी। बहुत उसको अनहैप्पी था, अरे इतना इवन आफ्टर पुटिंग लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट्स आई कुडंट सिलेक्टेड, आई एम नॉट सिलेक्टेड, उसको ऐसा लग रहा था। उससे क्या हो गया कि he was not happy, he was sad for a few months, but all of a sudden he became officer because Pratibha Setu से उनको कॉल आ गया, he applied. The only criteria in Pratibha Setu was the candidate who appeared interview should have completed post graduation. उनका क्या कंप्लीट होना जरूरी है, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट होना जरूरी है। सो 22-23 में जब हम उनको बोलते कि भाई साइड में साइड पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन कर ले साइड बाय साइड, उसका इंटर में सिलेक्शन नहीं हुआ फाइनल, तो हमने उसको बोला था पीजी कर ले पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन, उसने पीजी को एडमिशन ले लिया। बाय द टाइम प्रतिभा सेतु एडवर्टीजमेंट केम, हिज पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन वाज आल्सो कंप्लीटेड एंड ही इमीडिएटली अप्लाइड, ही वाज सिलेक्टेड। वहां पे और भी अच्छे थे जिनका पीजी नहीं हुआ था, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन नहीं हुआ था, दे वर नॉट सिलेक्टेड इनटू दैट प्रतिभा सेतु, इवन दे वर इनटू फाइनल लिस्ट ऑफ यूपीएससी इंटरव्यू। सो उस सिलेक्शन का बेसिस क्या था, यू शुड हैव कंप्लीट योर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन, राइट। तो उसको उसका फायदा मिल गया। नेक्स्ट ईयर प्रतिभा सेतु ने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन की कंडीशन को डिलीट कर दिया। उन्होंने बोला कि नहीं पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन नहीं चाहिए, आप ग्रेजुएट हो, इंटरव्यू दिया है तो हम आपको सिलेक्ट कर लेंगे। दिस ईयर टू द पीपल हु कुडंट सिलेक्टेड इनटू यूपीएससी 2024 एग्जामिनेशन, दे आर नाउ सिलेक्टेड थ्रू विच सेतु, प्रतिभा सेतु, राइट। So this is how your plan becomes into operation when you have adequate qualification with your biodata, right? So the first thing we discussed, it was about why. Second thing is about how. हमने डिस्कस कर लिया कि क्यों करना है, हमने ए भी डिस्कस कर लिया है कि कैसे करना. नाउ द रियल थिंग इज हाउ वी शुड स्टार्ट एक्चुअली कैसे स्टार्ट करना. दैट इज नेक्स्ट पॉइंट ऑफ आवर डिस्कशन. दैट इज द हेड स्टार्ट. कैसे करेंगे, किस तरीके से हम इसको शुरू करेंगे. हाउ कैन वी स्टार्ट दैट. द फर्स्ट थिंग जो हमें करनी है, वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड आवरसेल्फ. हमें खुद को आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि हु आई एम. राइट. आपको क्या करना है, यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट योर प्रेजेंट स्किल सेट. आपके पास स्किल सेट क्या है. व्हाट इज योर पर्सनैलिटी. आपकी पर्सनैलिटी कौन सी है. व्हाट इज योर स्ट्रेंथ. व्हाट आर योर वीकनेसेस. आपके पास प्रेजेंट स्किल सेट कौन सा है, आपको देखना पड़ेगा. यू टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट. बिकॉज अगर आपके पास कुछ स्किल्स है तो उसको शार्प करने होंगे. राइट. अगर आपके पास कुछ स्किल्स नहीं है तो आपको क्या करना होगा, उसको आपके इनकलकेट करना होगा. वन, you should also identify your personality. Is it suitable to government jobs? Is it suitable to government jobs? Is it suitable to private jobs? Can you become IAS? Can you become IPS? There are lot many people who are into IPS, but it doesn't suit them. And there are people who are into other services that doesn't suit them. उनको IPS होना था, दूसरे सर्विस में चले गए. जिनको IAS बनना था वो IPS हो गए. ऐसा बहुत सारा चीजें उल्टी होती है वहां पे. क्यों? व्हेन यू फेल टू अंडरस्टैंड योर पर्सनैलिटी. सो आपको आपके पर्सनैलिटी को आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा. यू शुड ऑल्सो फाइंड आउट योर स्ट्रेंथ. आपके पास स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, क्या स्ट्रेंथ हो सकते हैं. लैंग्वेज कुड बी योर स्ट्रेंथ. राइट. नंबर ऑफ आवर्स यू कैन सिट फॉर प्रिपरेशन, दैट कुड बी योर स्ट्रेंथ. योर राइटिंग कुड बी अ स्ट्रेंथ. I gave example of one IFS officer, right? That girl who was student of this batch, she couldn't qualify first two preliminary examination. उसके दो prelims नहीं निकल गए थे. So as she was from Delhi, she was staying there. उसका कॉल आ गया, सर दो prelims नहीं निकले, अभी क्या करूं मैं, समझ नहीं आ रहा. मैंने बोला कि आपको करना है, क्योंकि I was very confident about her because her writing skill was so superb. She only required to pass the preliminary examination. मैंने बोला आपके डैड से मैं बात करूंगा, लेकिन आपको करना है. I provided her counseling. In the third attempt, she qualified prelims. I was 100% sure that she was going to qualify main examination because I knew her writing skills, because that was already inherent in her. She stood first in essay in her examination year. पूरे देश में पहली आ गई essay के मार्क्स में. Right? क्यों? Because her writing was so good, the way she was thinking was absolutely fantastic. She knew her strength. You should also know your weaknesses. आपके weaknesses के बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए. अगर आपके कुछ weaknesses है, अगर हमें पता चलते, can we work upon those weaknesses? Yes, we can work upon those weaknesses. And in addition to working upon those weaknesses, we can prioritize our strength also. Suppose there is some weakness. There is one officer, lady officer, she is into IAS. We were preparing at the same time. हम साथ में प्रिपेयर करते थे. उसका एक वीकनेस था. क्या? इन एसेज शी वॉज नॉट गुड. जो ऐसे लिखती थी ना, शी वॉज नॉट गुड इन एसेज, ऐसे में. बट शी वॉज गुड इन अदर सब्जेक्ट्स. Even after putting lot of efforts, she was very sure that she is not going to score very well in essays. So she knew her weakness. She tried to overcome that weakness, but as it was not possible to overcome the weakness, she shifted her focus from weakness to strength, and she started working more on strength. As a result, she got average marks in essay, but very good marks in other papers of general studies. Ultimately, your total matters. The total of essay and other papers. She got into IAS. So you have to find out your weaknesses and how can you work upon those weaknesses. If the weaknesses are not worked upon, you can focus more on strength to compensate whatever we are losing in weaknesses. So the very first step, how we can start, we have to understand ourselves, right? And once you understand yourself, the very next thing you are supposed to do is developing relevant skill set. अगर आपको इस एग्जाम को पास करना है तो आपके पास क्या होना जरूरी है? यू शुड हैव दैट skill set. And what is that skill set? The basic skills: reading, writing, and speaking. Reading, writing, and speaking. Right? This is the last. Speaking वाली thing बहुत last में. ठीक है? सबसे पहले हमें क्या करना है? रीडिंग करना है. आप बोलेंगे सर हमें तो ऐसे पढ़ना आता है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग यू आर नॉट एबल टू रीड. यू हैव टू रीड एंड अंडरस्टैंड. आपको पढ़ना भी है और आपको समझना भी. आप जो कुछ पढ़ रहे हो, आप जो कुछ पढ़ रहे हो, वॉट एवर यू आर रीडिंग, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. वी आर कॉलिंग इट एज अ रीडिंग बिटवीन द लाइन्स. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, outside this classroom there is a cloudy atmosphere, cloudy weather, not atmosphere, cloudy weather. What is the weather? Cloudy weather, right? So cloudy weather is one thing, you are able to read that, but how can we comprehend that? If there is a cloudy weather, there is a chance of rain, right? There is absence of sunlight, the temperature will be less, there would be cooling effect in atmosphere, right? So the cloudy weather is reading, and what is behind that? I told you, chance of rain, no sunlight, cool winds, and so many other things which comes with that. You can also gauge probably this is the rainy season. When cloudy weather is outside, you can gauge that is the probably rainy season, though it is not written as a rainy season, but we can guess it. So you'd have to read and understand. Read and understand. आपको सिर्फ पढ़ना नहीं है, आपको अंडरस्टैंड भी करना है. Okay, let me give one example. Have you heard of revolt of 1857? पढ़ा है आपने रिवॉल्ट ऑफ 1857 के? कहाँ पे शुरू हो गया था? Okay, did that start at one place or it occurred at multiple places? It occurred at multiple places. I know you know those multiple places. आपको पता है कि multiple places पे हुआ था, right? You know what is the way of UPSC asking question on this? They tell you the revolt of 1857 started at this place. Thereafter, it spread to following places. बाकी जगह पे वो spread हो गया. The question starts now. Arrange these following places in chronological order as per the revolt taking place or as per the revolt occurring at these respective places. So उन्होंने आपको places नहीं पूछे, उन्होंने खुद आपको places दिए और बोला कि इनको सीक्वेंस में अरेंज करना है, कहाँ पहले शुरू हुआ कहाँ बाद में हो गए. समझ आया? सो यू हैव ऑलरेडी रेड दैट. आपने उसको पढ़ा है लेकिन आपने समझने में गलती की. ठीक है? सो क्वेश्चन कैसे पूछते हो, उसके पीछे क्या है? देयर इज वन मोर एग्जांपल. हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ क्रूड ऑयल? क्रूड ऑयल के बारे में सुना है आपने? क्रूड ऑयल. अभी E20 की बहुत सारी बातें चल रही है. E20 की क्रूड ऑयल के ऊपर हमारा प्राइस डिपेंड करता है पेट्रोल और डीजल का, राइट? एंड इन इंटरनेशनल मार्केट द क्रूड ऑयल प्राइसेस आर फ्लक्चुएटिंग. क्रूड ऑयल प्राइसेस फ्लक्चुएटिंग हो रहा है क्योंकि वॉर लाइक सिचुएशन. Iran and America, they haven't settled their war yet, and because of which our fuel supply has been affected. हमारा fuel supply affect हो गया, right? So हर रोज न्यूज़पेपर में ऐसी बातें आती है. What is the news? कि क्रूड ऑयल के प्राइसेस इतने बढ़ गए, इतने कम हो गए. द क्रूड ऑयल प्राइस इज मेजर्ड इन बैरल्स. मतलब हर बैरल का प्राइस होता है. किसका प्राइस होता है? हर बैरल का प्राइस होता है. हैव यू हर्ड द वर्ड बैरल? क्रूड ऑयल बैरल. ओके. One day UPSC asked a question. One barrel of crude oil contains how many liters of oil? What was the question? One barrel of crude oil contains how much liters of oil? And options were given. What I'm trying to highlight here, everybody read what is crude oil, what is the price of one barrel of crude oil, but nobody tried to understand how much liters oil is in one barrel of crude oil. So what I'm trying to say here is आपको पढ़ना है लेकिन आपको समझना भी, and you have to be conceptually very strong. So it is not only reading, it is always reading between the lines. It is always reading between the lines. Do you know Yuvraj Singh, cricketer? There is one record on his name. He hit 6 sixes. मारे थे ना? किसके खिलाफ मारे थे? Which was the team? England. Who was the bowler? Broad, Coflintock, Stuart Broad. हाँ, सवाल क्या पूछा गया था हमारे एग्जामिनेशन में? युवराज सिंह hit 6 sixes in a row against England while playing one-day international match. The match was played on which of the following stadium? क्या सवाल पूछा गया था? उसने कौन से स्टेडियम पे वो रिकॉर्ड बनाया? सो एवरीबडी न्यू इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ बनाया था. एवरीबडी न्यू हु वाज द बॉलर, बट ओनली फ्यू पीपल न्यू व्हाट वाज द नेम ऑफ दैट स्टेडियम. पढ़ा तो सभी ने था, लेकिन उसको ध्यान में कुछ थोड़े लोगों ने रखा था. So this is how we have to improvise our reading. You have to read between the lines. So which things come into picture here? Reading. Next is writing. Next is writing. Because in this examination, you are supposed to write your answers in given number of words, given number of minutes. Word की भी लिमिट है, टाइम की भी लिमिट है. So writing skill अच्छा होना बहुत जरूरी है. Right? I'm not asking to be very proficient in writing skill immediately. हमारे पास समय है. कितना समय है? 3 साल का समय. Right? And how can we do that? We can do that with frequent practice. So reading is important, writing is important. You know, these guys who are getting selected, they are doing a lot of writing practice. Huh? Starting from hundreds to thousands of answers, they are always writing. So that is about writing. Last thing is about speaking. ठीक है, अगर आपको इंग्लिश में बात करना आती है तो अच्छी है, नहीं आती यू कैन स्टिल अपीयर इंटरव्यू इन योर मदर टंग. मराठी में भी इंटरव्यू दे सकते हो, ठीक है, उससे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता. बट दैट इज द लास्ट थिंग विच इज रिक्वायर्ड. अगर आपको इंग्लिश आती है तो दैट विल बी ए बोनस थिंग. बट इफ यू आर नॉट दैट मच प्रोफिशिएंट इन इंग्लिश, यू कैन स्टिल गो अहेड विथ योर मदर टंग. मदर टंग में भी इंटरव्यू दे सकते हो. दे प्रोवाइड यू ट्रांसलेटर. आपको ट्रांसलेटर प्रोवाइड करते हैं, ठीक है. सो ट्रांसलेटर हेल्प यू टू ट्रांसलेट व्हाट यू आर सेइंग टू देम. सो दैट इज पास फ्रॉम you to panel members in actual interview. ठीक है. So that is the very last thing. But the real skills are reading and writing. Reading and writing. And in addition to this, I also believe you should possess officer-like qualities. We call it as OLQs. And what are these officer-like qualities? You should be honest enough. Honesty होना बहुत जरूरी है. There should be integrity. You should behave with utmost integrity. You should possess empathy. आपके पास empathy होना बहुत जरूरी है. All these are concepts of ethics. हमारे पास जो ethics वाला सब्जेक्ट है ना, उसके यहाँ पे हम सभी कॉन्सेप्ट को पढ़ते हैं. You should have knowledge. आपके पास knowledge होना जरूरी है. You should have emotional intelligence. आपके पास emotional intelligence होना जरूरी है. You should also have confidence. And these are all officer-like qualities. कैसे वाले qualities है? Officer-like qualities. How can we bring these officer-like qualities? Of course, by understanding. Of course, by understanding. Of course, by practice. कैसे कर सकते हैं? Practice से कर सकते हैं. कैसे कर सकते हैं? उसको समझने के बाद कर सकते हैं. We can also learn this by observing. Now, the officer which you initially referred me, gave example of that officer. That officer is full of honesty, full of integrity, full of empathy, full of knowledge, full of confidence, full of emotional intelligence. Almost every officer is like this. There may be some variation in that, but you should possess these qualities. आपके पास ये सभी qualities होना बहुत जरूरी है. And we cannot build these qualities within a fortnight or tomorrow when our interview is scheduled. No, you have to practice from day one. Day one से practice करना जरूरी है. Right? उसको कैसे develop करना है? Our life is, full of all these morals and ethics. Only thing is we have to learn and implement. Learn and implement. Right? When you start early, that provides you added advantage. कैसे? Answer lies here. Reading of newspapers. Reading of newspaper. Now you just tell me, are you reading newspapers? पढ़ते हो आप newspaper पढ़ते हो? Are you sure how many of you read newspapers? Can you please raise your hands? Only handful of people are reading newspapers. आदत डालनी होगी. You should start. You should start. I'm not saying that you should start reading newspaper immediately from tomorrow itself and you start reading newspaper every day. It is desirable to read newspaper every day. But when you are not into that newspaper reading so far, you can start reading one newspaper in a week. Okay. And slowly you can increase the frequency. 2 newspaper in a week, 3 newspaper in a week, and in a timeline of say 6 months to 12 months, or in a 1 year, you can finally learn into reading one newspaper every day. You can then take the timeline. उतने timeline को आप ले सकते हो. I'm not saying start reading newspaper for tomorrow. अगर आप ऐसा करोगे तो क्या होगा? You know, there will be bunch of newspaper piling on your table and you may not get enough time to read that newspaper. शुरू से करेंगे, छोटी छोटी चीजों से शुरू करेंगे. उससे क्या होगा? You'll able to learn so many things that will be added advantage to gain the knowledge. You will also learn about the cases of honesty, integrity, emotional intelligence around us. You will also understand what is happening around us, right? And what is happening around us also plays in shapes our thought. उससे हमारे thought process को boost मिलता है. Now, have you heard of Cockroach Janata Party? They are protesting at Jantar Mantar. Yesterday morning, Sonam Wangchuk, aka Funsuk Wangdu, so called, he was taken into the hospital. You know, what government is doing, we are not judging it. Government जो कर रहे हैं हम उसको judge नहीं कर रहे. But we can shape our thoughts on the incidences which are happening around us. Have you heard the rains are delayed this year? बारिश डिले हो गई because of El Nino. Because of El Nino. Now, what is El Nino? Why El Nino takes place? Yeah, that is the video uploaded on YouTube channel. El Nino के बारे में सभी हमने YouTube channel पे upload किया भी है. कहाँ से मिल गया knowledge? Newspaper पढ़ने से मिलता है. So that serves you as a depository of knowledge. Every day you get so many things which are happening around us. Right? Yesterday I read in a newspaper that every winner in FIFA World Cup will be given a ring. सभी को ring मिलेगी. पहले तो ट्रॉफी तो मिलती है. That trophy goes to team. हर प्लेयर को क्या मिलेगा? They are going to provide a gold ring. अभी सभी को gold ring देने वाले हैं. Limited edition. Of course, limited edition वाली gold ring देने वाले हैं. Now, someday there will be question in examination on this. Right? So, we have to start reading newspaper. In addition to the providing information and knowledge, that will also help you to build your reading skills, writing skills and speaking skills. So, I can connect newspaper with these skills. उससे भी हम उसको क्या कर सकते हैं? Connect कर सकते हैं. Reading of newspapers and these skills. So, reading of newspaper is also important. That is also important. आपको क्या करना है? उसको अच्छी तरीके से पढ़ना. How can you start? By reading one newspaper in a week. Slowly on, you can increase the frequency. Of course, you can read the English newspaper. You can also start reading Marathi newspapers. At least you should read headlines. At least you should read headlines. Right? Reading of newspaper. And the next important thing is building strong basics. हमारे basics strong होने चाहिए. Okay, what we recommend in basics? We recommend in basics that you should start reading NCERTs. आपको क्या करना है? NCERT को पढ़ना है. You should start reading NCERTs. Then you should start reading newspapers. You should fundamentally thorough with respect to your skill set. With respect to your skill set. So, अगर हमारा foundation अच्छा होगा, which we are going to build in 2 years of this course initially. अगर आपका foundation अच्छा होगा, तो आगे जाके क्या होगा? You can develop your building so strong on the basis of strong foundation. Thereafter, you may not have to put a lot of efforts. आगे जाके काम कम होगा जब आपका foundation बहुत अच्छा होगा. So the very first thing, we try to understand why. Then we try to understand how. Then this is the head start. Actually कैसे करना? Actually we can start by understanding ourselves. खुद को understand करेंगे. We start developing relevant skill set. We start reading न्यूज़पेपर्स एंड वी स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग स्ट्रॉन्ग बेसिक। इसका टाइमलाइन क्या है, कब करना है? वी हैव टू डू दैट इन 3 to 4 years, 3 से 4 साल में हमें इसको करना है। कैसे करना है? 3 से 4 साल में, राइट? अगर 3 से 4 साल में हम इसको करते then nobody can match your performance, right? So we understood why, we understood how, we understood how to actually start. That is the head start, right? Now once we understand this, the next thing is what would be the role of coaching and mentors? हम क्या करेंगे? What is the role of coaching? What is the role of mentors? See, the very first role the coaching and mentoring will be providing to you, it is a strategy guidance and roadmap. Strategy guidance and roadmap. कैसे प्रोसीड करना है उसको, आगे जाके हम उसको कैसे प्रोसीड करेंगे, किस मदद से हम उसको आगे जाके कंटिन्यू करेंगे, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी रोल ऑफ कोचिंग एंड मेंटर्स। वी कैन डिस्कस इन पर्सन। आपका आइटम कब आएगा? 3 साल बाद आएगा, 4 साल बाद आएगा, आपको ऑप्शन लेना चाहिए, कौन सा लेना चाहिए, विच एग्जामिनेशन यू शुड फोकस, व्हाट इज योर रिलेवेंट स्किल सेट, आपको किस चीज के ऊपर ध्यान देना चाहिए, वेर आर यू गुड एट, सो दैट will be done by coaching and mentors, because we provide personalized feedback and doubt solving. That is the SOP. पर्सन टू पर्सन होगा, कस्टमाइज होगा, सभी के लिए सेम प्लान नहीं होगा, हर एक का प्लान अलग अलग होगा। थर्ड इज मोटिवेशन एंड कंटिन्यूअस सपोर्ट। मोटिवेशन जरूरी है, कंटिन्यूअस सपोर्ट भी जरूरी है, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट योर सक्सेस, इट इज अबाउट आवर सक्सेस ऑल्सो। And never say that is your examination. I said that is our examination, because whatever you are doing, that will be tested in an examination, but whatever I am guiding you, that will be also tested in examination. So that's not only your examination, in addition to you, that is my examination also. I need to also check now whether my strategies are working or not, because that is our examination. किसकी examination है? हमारे examination है। So उसमें motivation और continuous support होना बहुत जरूरी है। That is done by whom? That is done by coaching and mentors, and that we are doing in 3 years batch. हम इसको 3 years batch में करते। क्यों करते हैं? बिकॉज दैट इज द वेरी फर्स्ट इन इंडस्ट्री। सबसे पहले हमें ने शुरू किया था, पुणे में शुरू किया, एंटायर इंडिया, पूरे भारत में 3 साल वाला कोर्स हमारा ही पहला है। हमने स्टार्ट किया था 2012 में। फ्रॉम दैट डे वन टू दिस डेट आई नो एवरी बैच हु हैज पास फ्रॉम दिस कोर्स। वी आर द वेरी फर्स्ट इन इंडस्ट्री दैट हैज बीन मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल कोर्स। व्हाई? 3 से 4 साल हमें मिलते हैं ना। कितने साल मिलते? 3 से 4 साल। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट एवरीबडी हु वाज एनरोल्ड इनटू दैट कोर्स वाज सिलेक्टेड। Everybody who was enrolled into that course with the same intention, same desire, some of them are into UPSC, some of them are into MPSC, some of them are also selected into other examinations, some of them are not selected also. कुछ लोग ऐसे भी उनका सिलेक्शन नहीं हुआ, but that helped them to understand themselves. उनको खुद की पहचान करने में उस कोर्स की हेल्प हुई है। Some of them are doing very good job in private industries. क्यों? अभी परसों ही मेरे एक बंदे से बात होगी, अमेरिका में चला गया, इसी कोर्स का स्टूडेंट था, 2 मेंस भी लिखे थे उसने, बाद में मैनेजमेंट पढ़ लिया, चला गया, क्योंकि उसको पता चला कि ही इज पुटिंग एफर्ट्स, इट इज नॉट वर्किंग बिकॉज ऑफ सम skills he is lacking, but whatever he read here, whatever he learned here, it helped him to secure a job in USA, right? So that also help you in some other fields of your preparation. So that has been more successful course. You get the best mentors, you always get the best mentors. तुम्हाला बेस्ट मेंटर्स याच्यामध्ये मिळणार आहेत, and this course has provided consistency. Every year 2-3 candidates into single or double digit rank, they are from this course, not from that year of course. 3-4 years back they have enrolled into the course, because our time period is 3 to 4 years. 3 से 4 साल का टाइम पीरियड उसको चाहिए, because you are writing that examination after completing your graduation, right? So this 3 years course, we conduct the classes on every weekend, and we are providing all these things to you. Got it? So now coming to this roadmap, how can we gear up ourselves for becoming an officer? Again I'll repeat in brief. वार्मिंग अप फॉर बिकमिंग एन ऑफिसर, किस तरीके से हम उसको खुद को वार्म अप कर सकते हैं? वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड आउट व्हाई। हमें क्या करना है? व्हाई को ढूंढना है, हमने उसको ढूंढ लिया, मैंने तो ढूंढ लिया, आपको ढूंढना है. We both can find that. Secondly, how, कैसे करना है? By understanding ourselves and doing so many things. Actual में कैसे head start करना है? What would be our first step? We also try to understand that head start. We also try to understand what will be the role of coaching and mentors. Coaching and mentors का role उसमें क्या होगा, उसके बारे में हमने बात की है. In addition to this, we also spoke a bit about 3S integrated course, right? So this is how we can warm up ourselves to become an officer, right? You got this? समझ आया? Now the session is open for doubts, so you can ask me your doubts. Okay, and once you ask me your doubts, we can proceed thereafter on the basis of your doubts. So do you have any doubts? Yes.
I think there will be one paper, like you or multiple paper, or just focus on one paper.
Initially, as a head start, we are going to focus on only one newspaper. एक ही न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है. एक ही न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है. Only one. What is the general preference by aspirant? Most of the aspirant, they read the Hindu or the Indian Express. Okay, that is the most obvious choice. And I am also suggesting you to read one local newspaper. मराठीवाला कुठलाही आपण वाचू शकतो ना त्याच्यामध्ये. एकच करायचं सुरुवातीला. And once you get acclimatized to newspaper, you are able to handle that newspaper in say 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Then we can get over to 2 newspapers. But I am assuming that you are going to college. You also college assignments, you have college practicals, right? So there you may not get that enough time. So what you can do is you can download one newspaper, read only headlines. Or there are also push notifications. अगर उसको भी पढ़ते हो ना, और छोटे छोटे न्यूज लेटर्स भी आते ईमेल में. सपोज आई एम द सब्सक्राइबर ऑफ द हिंदू एंड इंडियन एक्सप्रेस. I get newspaper every day into my inbox. But in addition to that newspaper, I also get newsletter highlighting some of the important news of a day. उतना भी अगर हम पढ़ते हैं ना, still we are into current affairs touch, right? So एक ही newspaper हमें पढ़ना है. हाँ, one more thing I am going to recommend you, as you are going to appear and enrolling yourself into college, take this thing very seriously. कॉलेज जाना है, कॉलेज जाके क्लासरूम में भी जाना है. ऐसा नहीं कि कॉलेज जाना है सिर्फ, क्लासरूम में भी जाना है. एंड यू हैव टू पार्टिसिपेट इन एवरी एक्टिविटी ऑफ योर क्लासरूम एंड कॉलेज. हर एक्टिविटी में पार्टिसिपेट करना है. क्यों? बिकॉज दैट एक्टिविटी विल टीच यू द टीम वर्क. एक्टिविटी आपको क्या पढ़ाएगी? दैट एक्टिविटी विल टीच यू टीम वर्क, कि टीम वर्क कैसे करते हैं. दैट एक्टिविटी विल गिव यू कॉन्फिडेंस. उससे आपको क्या मिलेगा? कॉन्फिडेंस मिलेगा. अगर आपको बोला गया कि आप स्टेज पे जाके 4 चीजें बोल लो, यू मे और मे नॉट हैव दैट स्टेज करेज, बट दैट विल बी प्रोवाइडेड इन योर कॉलेज with the help of so many activities. So you can learn teamwork, you can learn confidence, right? You can also learn some other aspect like emotional intelligence, empathy. So that platform is provided to you by your college. So this has been my always recommendation that you should go college. And not only college, you should go college, sit into classroom and take active participation in every activity of your classroom. And make sure you are academically also doing very well, because we do graduation once in our life. With respect to UPSC, we get 6 attempts in UPSC. How many attempts? 6 years. And nobody asks you at which attempt you got selected. आपको कोई पूछेगा नहीं कौन सा attempt में आपका selection हो गया. Nobody will ask you. ग्रेजुएशन में पूछेंगे ना, अगर ग्रेजुएशन फेल हो जाते हो तो पूछेंगे क्यों हो गए, कैसे हो गया. अरे इतना इजी तो है. सो ग्रेजुएशन कितने अटेम्प्ट में निकालना है? एक ही अटेम्प्ट में निकालना. यहाँ पे कितने मिलेंगे? 6 मिलेंगे. सो डोंट यू थिंक इट इज इक्वली important to take graduation very seriously? So this has been my recommendation to every aspirant. We have to take this activity very seriously. This is not going to affect your preparation of UPSC, no doubt. क्योंकि immediately from today onwards you are not supposed to read the books. When you are trying to understand yourself, you are already preparing for UPSC. When you are already started reading newspaper, you are preparing for UPSC. You are focusing on skill set. You are trying to inculcate those skills. What are you doing? you are already preparing for UPSC. So that is with respect to newspaper, right?
So like as we have 3 years, so as the extra skill, can we learn any foreign language?
See, learning foreign language is your own personal choice. It is not going to add any extra value into UPSC preparation, nor you are going to get any extra marks in UPSC, right? Now, there are people in UPSC, they have learned so many languages. But when we learn foreign languages, we don't go beyond the basics of that foreign language. ठीक है, उससे आपको ज्यादा फायदा नहीं मिलेगा. As a hobby, as your interest, you can always do that. But don't do it only for the sake of UPSC. For the sake of UPSC मत करो, क्योंकि for the sake of UPSC अगर आप करोगे तो उससे आपको कुछ ज्यादा फायदा नहीं मिलेगा, उससे आपका समय ही चला जाएगा. But out of your interest, out of your curiosity, out of your passion towards learning languages, you can always do that. Okay. बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि अगर मैं फॉरेन लैंग्वेज पढ़ूंगा तो IFS के लिए मुझे फायदा मिलेगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. अगर आपको फॉरेन सर्विस में जाना है तो बेस्ड ऑन योर मेरिट यू आर अलॉटेड अ पर्टिकुलर रीजन. आपने कौन सी लैंग्वेज सीखी है उससे आपको रीजन नहीं मिलेगा, आपके मेरिट के ऊपर ही मिलता है. ठीक है, बाद में वहां जाके आपको उसकी लैंग्वेज सीखनी होती है. सो वैसे होता है वहां पे. ओके, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? यस प्लीज.
Sir, can I please have books?
Different?
Reference books.
No. See, with reference to reference book, we have divided this course in 3 years, right? 3 साल में उसको डिवाइड किया. हम पहले साल क्या करने वाले हैं? वी आर गोइंग टू रीड बेसिक्स ऑफ एवरी सब्जेक्ट. हम इसके बेसिक्स पढ़ने वाले हैं. नाउ लेट मी टेल यू, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. हैव यू हर्ड द वर्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? बट वी शुड नो व्हाट इज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. वी शुड नो व्हाट इज पावर. वी शुड नो व्हाट इज सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर, what is division of power, what is meant by democracy, what are advantages of democracy, what is monetary policy, what is inflation, what is GDP. Likewise, we are going to study basics of each subject. So to understand basics in first year, you can rely on your NCERTs and class notes. किसके ऊपर रिलाई करने हैं हमें? NCERT और क्लास नोट के ऊपर रिलाई करने. जब हम सेकेंड ईयर में चले जाएंगे, कहां पे? सेकेंड ईयर, this will be the advanced stage of preparation. So whatever we have studied here, we'll be studying details of that subject here. So आपको reference book यहाँ पे लगेंगे. कहाँ पे? In second year. For example, for Indian polity, which reference book is recommended? It is Indian Polity by M. Lakshmikant. As you already know that even before you are starting the preparation, that shows the popularity of that book. Because you might have seen that book in the bag of every aspirant, whether the aspirant has read it or not. That is the book in the bag. So reference book are required in second year of our preparation. For say history, we may require Bipin Chandra, right? Or for some others, we may require some other books. So with reference to a reference book, we require reference book in second year. In the first year, our focus is NCERT and class notes. That's all. अपना focus यही है. And in third year, this second year will continue for a few months in third year, say from till August or September of third academic year of this course. Then we shift to mains writing practice for 4 months, and then we start prelims for next 6 months, assuming your attempt in fourth year. Assuming your attempt in fourth year. Okay, so with reference to reference book, we require those reference book in second year. Every subject expert will tell you which reference book are to be read. As of now, our focus is on NCERT and class notes. Okay, and this is how the entire 3 years course is divided. Okay. Any question from this side? There are two things when you are not asking question. You have understood everything, so there is no doubt at all. And secondly, you haven't understood anything. In that case also there is no doubt. So there are only two possibilities, either this or that. Okay, question is how many hours we should study? Head start. कहाँ पे? हेड स्टार्ट में हमें देखना पड़ेगा. Initially, number of hours is not going to matter. Initially, getting into momentum is what important. हाँ, अगर if you are into actual years of your preparation, if you are into actual year of your preparation, then usually around 7 to 8 hours preparation is enough. So the people who are writing main examination right now, they are at least doing it for 7 to 8 hours. But when you are doing it for 7 to 8 hours, it means you are sitting in library for 10 to 11 hours. 10 या 12 घंटे बैठोगे तभी 7 या 8 घंटे तक पढ़ाई कर पाओगे, क्योंकि एज्यूमिंग द टाइम रिक्वायर्ड टू गो आउट, ड्रिंक वाटर, go to the washroom, have a cup of tea, take a lunch. By taking all that time period, you have to sit for 12 hours. At the end of the day, it would come to 8 hours eventually. ऐसा नहीं होता कि 60 minutes we are continuously reading. We need some breathing space. So initially, the number of hours, that is not going to matter. Okay. Initially, our goal is to get into मोमेंट. मोमेंटम उसको मिलाना, मतलब सभी चीजों को समझना अच्छी तरीके से, उसको साइज में लाना, शेप में लाना, और हमारे डेली रूटीन में उसको फिट करना. दैट इज गोइंग टू आवर प्रायोरिटी. ऑलराइट. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? यस प्लीज. हाँ, हम पहले ईयर में क्या करने वाले हैं? देयर आर 7 to 8 सब्जेक्ट्स, राइट? सो जस्ट लाइक योर सेमेस्टर इन कॉलेज, we have divided it into 2 semesters. So in first semester there would be 3 to 4 subjects, and in second semester 3 to 4 subjects. जो सब्जेक्ट यहाँ पे स्टार्ट होगी उसी के एनसीईआरटी आपको पढ़ने. जो सब्जेक्ट्स यहाँ पे स्टार्ट होगी उसी के एनसीईआरटी आप बाद में पढ़ सकते हो. एंड नॉट फॉर एवरी सब्जेक्ट यू हैव टू रीड फ्रॉम 6th standard. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ज्योग्राफी. In case of geography, we recommend it to read from 6th standard. But in case of Indian polity, you can start from 9th standard, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. उसके पहले वाले भी पढ़ सकते हो, लेकिन that is not compulsory. For every subject, the standards are different, right? So that won't be a lot of work for you. हम क्या करेंगे? पहले सेमेस्टर में 3 से 4 सब्जेक्ट करेंगे, दूसरे सेमेस्टर में 3 से 4 सब्जेक्ट करेंगे. उससे क्या होगा? Your load will be distributed evenly. Okay, the subject expert will tell you किस कहाँ से शुरू करना है. Okay, कोई प्रश्न होता है आगे?
So from mains point of view, like handwriting is important.
See, the only criteria of handwriting is it should be legible. मतलब जो चेक करने वाले उसको समझ आना चाहिए. It shouldn't be like doctors कि समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. That is one thing. And secondly, अगर आपका हैंडराइटिंग बहुत अच्छा है, if that is too good, अगर बहुत अच्छा है तो ठीक है, उससे थोड़ा बोनस मिल सकता है. बोनस मिल सकता है, लेकिन आपका हैंडराइटिंग बहुत अच्छा नहीं है, इससे आपको कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा. अच्छा है तो आपको बोनस मिलेगा. बोनस कितना मिलता है? नॉट फुल्ली. 5-10 मार्क्स आपको बोनस में मिलेंगे, क्योंकि वो दैट विल बी रिड्यूसिंग द एफर्ट्स ऑफ एग्जामिनर ना, बिकॉज एग्जामिनर विल बी एबल टू रीड वेरी क्लीनली. सो उसका फायदा मिलता है. अगर आपका हैंडराइटिंग बहुत अच्छा नहीं तो उसका आपका डिसएडवांटेज कोई नहीं हो. ठीक है. लेकिन मुझे क्या लगता है, अगर आपको 3 या 4 साल 4 साल पहले पता है कि आपका हैंडराइटिंग इतना अच्छा नहीं है, कांट वी इम्प्रोवाइज दैट हैंडराइटिंग इन 3 to 4 years? 3 से 4 साल में कर सकते हैं? नहीं कर सकते? वी कैन डू दैट इजीली ना, अगर हमें पता चले. इसीलिए मैंने बोला अंडरस्टैंडिंग योरसेल्फ. अंडरस्टैंडिंग योरसेल्फ. इवन टुडे वी रिकमेंड टू द स्टूडेंट, अरे आपका आर अच्छा नहीं आ रहा है राइटिंग करते समय, एल और आई का डिफरेंस नहीं समझ आता है, हम आज भी बोलते हैं ना. अगर 3 साल पहले उन्होंने किया होता, 4 साल पहले किया होता, सो दैट वोंट बी प्रॉब्लम राइट नाउ. अगर आपको लगता है तो आप उसके ऊपर काम कर लो. यू कैन गेन दैट बोनस ऑल्सो. उसके लिए आपको व्हाट एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट्स यू आर टेकिंग? नथिंग. यू आर सिंपली अल्टरिंग सम ऑफ योर अल्फाबेट्स. इज दैट टू कॉस्टली? नो, दैट इज नॉट टू कॉस्टली, राइट? So there, what is important? Understanding yourself is very important. All right. See, they have changed the syllabus. Maybe they have added few more chapters. maybe have taken out some stuff. So with respect to that, you just make sure that you buy the old books, because after a year or two, these old books will be out of stock. So it is better to have the old stuff with you. And you can also buy some new books. There won't be much difference in the books. Huh? Suppose you are two friends. One can buy old set, another can buy new set. So both of you can have both the sets. Right? उससे ज़्यादा syllabus में फर्क नहीं है. Syllabus is not that much different. Okay, थोड़ा बहुत change उसमें करते हो, लेकिन that is a regular process. But it is always better to have old sets in Pradesh, the hard copies. Online तो वैसे भी available रहेगी वो. ठीक है? That is a good question. How to develop skills? पहले पता तो करना चाहिए हमारे पास है या नहीं है. Whether I am able to write or not. Whether I am able to take a decision or not. Even to ask a question in classroom is a type of decision making. Right? And by gathering so much of courage, you did that. It means you took that decision. You took that decision. From such a small incident, we can start developing that skills. Again, the role of understanding yourself come into the picture. हम क्लास में बोलते हैं ना, आपको एक सवाल को लिख लो, यू शुड राइट एन आंसर. उस समय पता चलता है कि आर यू एबल टू राइट द आंसर. यू विल ऑल्सो चेक दैट आंसर. वहां से हमें पता चलता है कि डू यू हैव रिलेवेंट राइटिंग स्किल और नॉट. राइट? ऐसे हम उसको पता करते हैं. वी ऑर्गेनाइज सम एक्टिविटीज इन क्लासरूम. उससे हमें पता चलता है कि आर यू एबल टू स्पीक. राइट? उसके ऊपर हम आपको सजेशन देते हैं कि आप बहुत ज्यादा बोलते हो, आप बहुत कम बोलते हो. You have to balance both. So understanding yourself is very important. But you already made that decision of asking the question, right? Even not to ask a question is also a decision. बाकीच्यांना वाटेल आम्ही क्वेश्चन विचारला, आमच्याकडे डिसिजन मेकिंग नाहीये का? Even not to ask question is also a decision which you have made up in your mind. Okay, ऐसे छोटी छोटी चीजों से हम उसको अच्छी तरीके से समझ सकते हैं. ठीक है? Is there any other question? So the last thing here is, as we are talking a lot about mentors and all that, you should also know this mentor. मेरे बारे में आपको पता होना जरूरी है. So my name is Pravin. I'm teaching this course from 2012, the day on which we launched this course, from the very first day, right? My subjects are Indian polity, that is Constitution of India. I also teach international relations to other batches. There is one point of syllabus called as internal security in General Studies paper 3. I am also teaching that subject to other batches. Okay, I'm part of this academy since 2010. Since 2010, I'm teaching into this academy. My expertise include personal mentoring. I know every student who has passed from this batch personally. Okay, you might have seen that in brochure provided to you, or you can watch their testimonials on YouTube. I know everyone such a student who passed from this batch because I have seen their preparation personally. I have also guided them personally, right? So personal mentoring is my strength. In addition to this, I'm also teaching the constitution topic to these batches, right? So this is a very brief introduction. Okay, so I'm going to be with you till you are into the preparation of civil services examination, because that is not only your examination. I believe that is my examination also. That is collectively our examination. Okay, you can always reach me on my number. This is my number. So this is my phone number. You can always reach me on this number. All right. So this is all from my side in today's session. We'll be meeting up for next sessions also. Now the next session is scheduled immediately. You can take a break of few minutes and you can reassemble here. Okay, the next faculty will come and start delivering the next session. So thank you all very much for joining this today's session. Hope to see you in next classes. Thank you all very much. Thank you.